Hello friends, I send greetings to the Rotarians assembled in Entebbe for your district conference, which I understand is the 101st African Conference. What an impressive occasion. I wish I could be there in person, as I'm a great lover of Africa, but I'm afraid long flights are becoming more difficult for me these days. Such is the tribulation of getting older. However, I'm honoured to be asked to present the 4th annual Samuel Frobisher Owori Memorial Lecture. In fact, I'm delighted to be involved in anything that celebrates the contribution to Rotary and the world at large of Samuel Frobisher Owori. And I congratulate Stephen and all who made the effort to institute this annual lecture. For those who don't know, I was Rotary International President in 2017-18, and Sam was elected to serve as President the following year. But sadly, he died in July 2017. Sam and I worked very closely in our planning to ensure there was continuity in leadership, and his passing was a great loss. In particular, I valued his support and commitment to my plan to emphasise sustainability in our Rotary projects, and we had many fruitful discussions about how to motivate the Rotary world in this direction. Also, it was my objective to promote women in leadership positions within Rotary at all levels, and Sam was very helpful in making recommendations of outstanding people he knew who would serve well in important roles. I think it's fair to say that he was ahead of his time in equality of opportunity, and he would be thrilled to now see that we have had 2 women as presidents of Rotary International, currently 6 female trustees of the Rotary Foundation, and a very strong female representation on the board of directors. Of course, these Rotarians are all highly qualified for their roles, but given Rotary's history of not formally involving women for the first 80 plus years of our existence, it's not surprising that our female members needed some encouragement into leadership opportunities. I know that African Rotarians were very proud of the fact that with Sam, your great continent was going to finally have another president after a gap of 15 years since Jonathan Maggiarbi. But sadly, that was not to be. It's wonderful that we now have a president-elect and a Rotary Foundation trustee from Africa, and there are certainly several more to come in the not-too-distant future. Now, Sam was a very calm and relatively quiet leader. At least that was the persona that we saw. Stephen and the family may have a different story, but he was certainly a very proud African. And he would be thrilled to see the development in your part of the world, especially within Rotary. I know that you had a visit from President Francesco and Anna Maria a month or so ago, and it's noteworthy that leaders within Rotary and the Rotary Foundation are regularly going to Africa to see firsthand the great work that's done there. Let me dwell for a moment on significant achievements that have occurred in Africa in recent times in which Rotary has been involved. In public health terms, the certification that Africa is polio-free in 2020 was a momentous occasion, and Rotarians, including Sam and of course Trustee Pearl, led the way. There have been setbacks since then, including the outbreak in Malawi and Mozambique in 2022 of a type 1 virus imported from Pakistan, but prompt action, including an effective vaccination campaign, brought this under control. However, that experience emphasized what is true in all parts of the world, including even in the USA, that polio is only a plane ride away, and unvaccinated children in particular remain at risk. Rotary and our partners must continue this fight until eradication is achieved, and we will achieve polio eradication. For peace, Makerere University there in Uganda has hosted students at a Rotary Peace Centre since 2021. It was developed as a very innovative centre, providing for certificate as well as master's level training and emphasising human rights, immigrant and migration issues. There are many hundreds of peace workers right around the world who have benefited from and are grateful for their experience at the Makerere Rotary Peace Centre. Because of the effectiveness of Rotary in Africa, there have been literally hundreds of projects carried out with the assistance of grants from our Rotary Foundation, plus clubs and districts from elsewhere. An excellent example of this is Project Abigail, where Rotary clubs in Australia and the USA were alerted by a Rotary Peace Fellow to a water and sanitation issue at Kimanya, I hope I pronounced that correctly, secondary school in Masaka, Uganda. Funds were raised and coordinated by Rotary Australia World Community Service, and 10 modern bathroom cubicles were created, transforming the lives of the 750 female boarding students. Let me quote Peace Fellow Emily Nabakuza, and she said about the creation, "It is a space that restores confidence, promotes dignity, and empowers girls to start their day ready to learn. For Abigail and every single girl in the school, these new bathroom facilities are not just structures of brick and cement, they are symbols of dignity, hope, and the assurance that they too matter." Well said, Emily. What a wonderful outcome. But my favourite story of a project in Africa is one experienced by my friends Don and Carolyn Mabus from Texas. They were our aides when I was president and are great supporters of the Rotary Foundation. In 2008, when Don was on the Rotary Board of Directors, they went to the official opening of a project in a village called, I think I've pronounced this, Domiabra in Ghana, where a matching grant arranged by the Rotary Clubs of Accra, Ghana and York, USA, undertook the provision of a water well in the village. Previously, the villagers had to walk several kilometres to obtain poor quality water from a water hole. The opening ceremony was conducted with the appropriate level of decorum and seriousness, and the local chief pumped the first water from the well, and everyone applauded. But the life-changing benefit that came from this well was evident when the visiting Rotarians were driving away, and they looked back at the well and saw the women and children singing and dancing and playing in the water. Those villagers knew that they were now safe from the diseases that come from stagnant water. And this is a fine example of the great project work done in the name of Rotary in Africa and throughout the world every single day. Rotary really does make a difference. And all of these project success stories help to explain the membership trend in Africa. We all know that polio eradication is Rotary's prime humanitarian objective, but our top internal goal must be membership development, and Africa is very well placed to contribute to membership growth. 10 years ago, the number of Rotarians in Africa was 27,838. The most recent membership figures I was able to obtain shows the number of Rotarians in Africa now as 44,374. You don't have to be an accountant to recognise that this is a significant increase. Indeed, I can tell you that it's just on 60% increase in 10 years. In a time when membership in the traditional Rotary countries is at best static or in many cases falling, the example provided by Africa is inspirational. I urge you, don't stop now, because you are leading the way and Rotary needs you. One of the driving forces behind Sam's commitment to service through Rotary was his belief in the responsibility of those of us with the capacity to do so to undertake service to those less fortunate than us. We had a retreat, a meeting for the Rotary International Board of 2017-18 immediately after the 2017 convention in Atlanta. And my aide, Don Mabus, Sam as President-elect, and I met beforehand to discuss what we wanted to emphasise to the incoming Board of Directors. We agreed on 4 things: respect to our fellow board members, staff and Rotarians in everything we do, the importance of us all enjoying the experience, our wish to acknowledge and celebrate the contribution of our partners, and the unique opportunity we have to make a difference in the world, especially for those less fortunate. Sam's wife Nora joined my wife Juliet and aide Carolyn in talking about the way in which partners are crucially important in bringing a different perspective to Rotary membership and service, not just for the senior leaders at the Board of Directors, but for members at all levels. My vice president was a lady from Canada named Dean Rawes, and her husband Rhino joined Nora to conduct a really interesting question and answer session on the ways in which partners of Rotarians can assist in making service work more effectively. Sam was asked to talk to the directors and their partners about that 4th item, the opportunity we had to make a difference for those less fortunate. His presentation was outstanding, and all present will certainly remember it. He emphasised not just the opportunity the directors and partners had to inspire Rotarians to provide service to those less fortunate, but also the fact that every Rotarian, because of the great organisation of which we are part through our clubs and the Rotary Foundation, had both the opportunity and responsibility to serve. It was inspirational, and I know that Sam intended to emphasise social justice and service to the needy in his year as president. But sadly, he and the Rotary world didn't have that opportunity. One of the most important aspects of Rotary is how we are challenged to promote the ideals of Rotary in our personal and business lives. This is not just the 4-way test, important though it is also the way we treat all with whom we interact each and every day. This includes making visitors welcome at our meetings, treating staff at our meeting venues with respect, and ensuring that there are no comments made that others would find offensive. This also translates into our personal lives, because members of the public judge Rotary by the way individual Rotarians behave, as that may be the only exposure they have to the ideals of Rotary. That is an awesome responsibility for each and every one of us, you and me, all of us. I really hope to get the opportunity to visit Africa again one day. I've only been there 4 times in my life, and I've enjoyed all of them. The first visit was just to the Seychelles and Kenya in 1980, and my children regularly show friends the photo of me in Amboseli National Park chasing a beautiful giraffe across the ground and trying to get a close-up photo. Somewhat embarrassing. I'm glad it was just a giraffe and not a rhinoceros. Friends, it's been a pleasure recording this annual Samuel Frobisher Owori lecture for you, and to reflect on the wonderful contribution Sam made to the world of Rotary. I wish you well at the conference and in all that you do through Rotary in the future. Thank you, because Rotary is better for having all of you as members of our great organisation. Thank you.